Hey, family. Tonight, I am so excited um, to talk about. I need to cut my phone down, y'all. Y'all know this is going to be a problem for me. Um, I am very excited to have a special guest on because I think that, relationships is my genre. I am a life and relationship coach, as many of you know. But tonight, I wanted to do something special in regards to the election. And I'm going to try to get, as I said last night when I went live, I'm going to try to get as many people as I can on my platform to talk about what's going on concerning this election. This is extremely important. So tonight, I have this amazing and wonderful girlfriend of mine who wrote this incredible book. And her name is Giovanna Fawcett. She's not a political commentator by trade, but after reading Project 2025 last winter, after reading about Project 2025 last winter, she couldn't stay silent. She shared her alarming discoveries with family, friends, and anybody else open to discussion. Her conclusion, if implemented, it would reshape the United States beyond recognition, realizing that most people won't slog through 922 pages. She began crafting a Cliff Note style summary. Unfortunately, halfway through her computer crashed. But 2 weeks later, she stumbled upon Agenda 47. After watching videos and reading transcripts from Donald J. Trump's official site, it became clear to her that Agenda 47 was even more radical than Project 2025. That wasn't speculation. It was Trump's own words. And he has never shielded away from making his intentional plans known. While he attempted to distance himself from Project 2025, it clearly serves as the groundwork for Agenda 47, a connection he cannot deny. As an AI enthusiast, Giovanna turned to AI tools to help compare the two agendas. Drawing on her experience as a former journalist and lifelong learner, she rigorously verified every claim. The results is her book, The Original Agenda 47, Project 2025 on Steroids, Unmasking Trump's Ultimate Plans. I needed to bring her here so that she can talk to all of you about what is really going on in this political climate. So I just read her bio. Um, I think that she is an awesome and phenomenal woman. She is part of my prayer call ministry. I absolutely love her. And without further ado, I'm introducing to you Miss Giovanna Fawcett.
Good
Hi,
evening. Good
Giovanna.
evening. Good evening. Like you say, hello, sunshine. I know it's evening, but it's still sunshine. Hello, sunshine.
Hello. Giovanna, thank you so much for agreeing to come on the show to talk about your book. I think that it is like way too important. We only have an hour show. I haven't done Thought Provoking Thursday in a while. And if I'm going to come back, I think that this election, for me, a quick story. I was laying in bed the other night after I finished teaching class and I was listening to the news. I'm a political news junkie. And I became so afraid that it almost brought tears to my eyes. Like I wanted to cry. Um, Watching what this country is going through, watching what our friends and family are going through, it's so much. I mean, if you were a political news junkie like me, then you gotta know that this is. I know that it's causing you a lot of what do you say,
Thanks.
agita.
Yeah.
Yes. And so I thought this election. Oh, and I don't know if I told you, I ended up meeting the one and only, the one and only. It was two one and onlys actually. James Clyburn
Yes,
from
yes.
South Carolina. I was so excited to meet him. He is my hero, only because, again, I'm a political news junkie, right? So I wanted you to come on and I wanted you to talk about your book, and I wanted you to tell me what alarmed you when you begin to do your research on the original Agenda 47. Let's start there.
Well, it starts with Project 2025. And it was Valentine's Day when I came across Project 2025. And I started sending bits and pieces to my family and friends. There was one cousin in particular, and we've discussed this. I have two cousins who are Trump supporters. And
Mm,
this one particular one, I sent Project 2025 to her and told her about it. And her reply was, "Well, what do the Democrats have?" I said, "They don't. Project 2025 is 925 pages, I believe. And it's the manifesto, the Republican manifesto. And there were some scary things in there, and things that made me think. They were getting rid of they were getting rid of law in terms of anybody who's worked in the government. You have seniority, but they were getting rid of all of that. They were replacing the biggest thing. They were replacing career people with their loyalists.
civil
So they were just
servants. Yeah. Uh-huh.
teachers and all this other kind of stuff. And so there was just so much to it. And so over the spring, I hear people talking about it, but nobody still brought it up. And I said, well, my intention was nobody's going to read 900 pages. I was going to make the Cliff Notes version of it so people could
Yeah.
have it.
Yeah.
And as you mentioned, when I started, then my dang on computer crashed, and I said, but I didn't get upset. And normally I would have.
Um,
I tried. I went to Amazon, not Amazon. I went to my girlfriend Tanya. Tanya said, "Well, did you call Microsoft?" I called Microsoft. I called Apple. Nobody could do anything. But normally I would have been upset. I just kind of sat back, and over the next 2 weeks, somehow or another, I stumbled up on Agenda 47 because Trump has been denying his attachment to Project 2025. So I went to his website, and there it was. You had his videos, you had his transcripts, and
wow.
some of the things that were on there were more radical than Project 2025. And the reason why I say radical is because these are things as president he could do, but with the stroke of a pen. So that's
Right.
really more radical. Whereas
Right.
Project 2025, there are a lot of things in there, but they have it. They have their system. They know that's why they have to get the majority. And,
Yeah.
and I'll go back one step. People think that Project 2025 was written for Trump. It is written for the next Republican president.
Wow.
So if they don't get, if Kamala wins, then they've got to go back to the drawing board.
Right. Right.
So, and start over. That's what makes it so dangerous. But back to Trump and Agenda 47.
Uh-huh.
You would hear his own words, as he was talking about defunding the education department, as he was talking about ending DEI and things like that affect us personally, mass deportation.
Right.
And a lot of this stuff you could hear, it was like done out of hate to get back. Actually, when he started Agenda 47, he was going after Biden because at this point, Kamala Harris hadn't been she hadn't been nominated yet. So he started this back in December of 2023. So he
Wow.
was going after Biden and his policies. So that's how it all started.
Wow. So I love what you're saying. I want to dig a little bit deeper because,
Mhm,
like,
mhm,
I asked a few people from the Democratic Party if they would come on my platform just to spread the word.
mhm.
It is vitally important for people to understand more deeply, like how Trump intends to like send education back to the states, right? What does that mean?
What does that mean? Do you
Mhm.
see what's happening in Florida where they've started banning the books? Do
Yeah.
you see what they're doing in Texas?
Mhm.
That is what that means. If he's
Yeah.
able to send it back to the states, they can
Hmm.
do what they want to do.
Right. Right.
And the poor, and he's saying he's doing this when if you go now when you go on his site, and I can, once again, we got receipts, so we can show you how to get there, but you won't find it if you sidetrack. If you go there now, you're not going to see his original Agenda 47. What you're going to see is 20 precepts from the Republican National Committee.
They took it down.
Yes, 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 yes.
Oh,
That's what you'll see. And you'll say, well, Jeff, I don't know what she's talking about. It's not that bad. Oh, yes, it is. Oh, yes, it is.
yeah.
Don't be fooled. Don't be
Yeah.
fooled. So let's go
Yeah.
back to answer your question about the states.
Yeah.
So he talks, his thing is sending it back to the states because he said our educational system is so flawed, blah, blah, blah. But so then you notice, remember when he was in office, how he withheld funds from uh the blue states.
Yes.
So if he sends it back to the states,
Yes.
he can still do his thing. And then
Right.
once
He
again, the
took it
states
away
can
from the
make up
state.
their
Yes.
own rules. That's
Yes.
dangerous.
Yes.
That's dangerous.
Yes. 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 Absolutely. I got you. And so that's kind of like the Roe v. Wade
Yes. Yes,
situation.
the same
Like
exact thing.
I'm gonna
Same.
let the states dictate what it's gonna
Yeah.
be, and I'm
Yeah.
only gonna do what I want to do for those that I think have voted for me.
Yes.
I
Yes.
just recently heard that while he was in office, right?
Mhm.
That, and this is, you can fact check me, anything I'm saying, you can go straight to Google and you can look it up for yourself. But um he just said, well, they had to prove to him that in California, that in the particular area where the wildfires were,
Yes.
that he literally, like those people there voted for him,
Yes.
right? In order for him to send money
Yes.
to California, because California is a blue state.
The blue state. Mm-hmm.
Right. And they had to go back and say, listen, you had this many people vote for you in
Mm-hmm.
California, but he
Mm-hmm.
did not want to send that money
Mm-hmm.
to them because of that. So it's terrible. Hi Tanya, hi Michael. I see y'all watching. Thank you for watching. So yeah, it's terrible. So when you start talking about, let's circle back just a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Let's circle back to you originally said he's going to get rid of the civil servants.
Yes.
I wanted to talk about that.
Yes. Because I think everybody knows somebody who works at the post office, at least back in the day. So if you had a civil servant job, you knew pretty much, I mean, that you were secure. And sometimes that could be a bad thing because you had some lazy postal workers. It could, but for the most part, you knew that that was the way to our middle class, civil servant, a civil servant
Yes.
position. That was our way to the middle class. And
Yes.
so now his whole philosophy, he doesn't care whether or not you're qualified. It's whether or
Right.
not you're loyal. So
Right.
that's how that
Right.
works. So he's going to be
Right.
getting rid of a lot of people. And a lot of Black people who are voting for Trump, they said it doesn't affect us, but it may affect your aunt. It may affect your grandmother, depending on what your age is. But
Yes.
somebody who works for the civil, as a civil servant.
Yes. Yes.
It may not affect you directly, but it affects you connectively.
Yes. 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 The other thing that I was thinking about as it pertains to all of this, I see y'all watching. Say hello. Say hello.
Hey.
Y'all can ask questions, type in the comments. I can see your comments. The other thing that I was thinking about is the fact that immigration. I was thinking about immigration. I'm going to tell you why. One of the things that I saw the other day was I saw this Hispanic young man who was part of the Republican, I guess party, he's going to vote, he said, for Donald Trump. And he
Mhm.
said, I'm from Guatemala, but
Mhm.
his family's from Guatemala, but he was born here. He said, and
Mhm.
all of these people are coming here and they're doing all of these egregious things and these crimes, and they're making us look bad. And
Mhm.
what broke my heart, what absolutely broke my entire heart, was the fact that they're not going to ask you if you're first, second, or third generation Guatemalan if they see you. They're going to arrest you on site because Trump wants to implement like a stop and frisk in a sense, right?
That's a whole
If I
that's
see
another section. That's
and you
another
look,
section. Yes.
it is. And I'm
Mhm.
going to come after you and
Yes.
we'll sort it out later, but I'm going to arrest you. And what broke my heart is while this young man was born here
Mhm.
in this country and he said that,
Mhm.
the fact that he thinks people don't realize, and I'm not saying that immigrants should commit any crimes, but they commit less than 1% of all the crime that goes on in America. And I'm not saying that anybody should be committing
Right,
crime.
right,
What
right.
I'm saying is that he's making this tiny little thing into a mountain in people's minds by saying
Fear.
that
Fear.
killers, right. And so the other part of that for me was this birthright citizenship. Because even if you're born here,
You hit the three
he's
different things.
saying, yes,
Yes, yes, yes,
you gotta go,
yes,
right?
yes.
We're gonna take away birthright citizenship because they don't
Depends if
want
you're
you.
brown, if you're black or brown. Now, if you're from
Yeah,
European countries, the Norway, Sweden, that doesn't affect
yes,
you. That doesn't
yes,
affect you. So,
yes.
okay, you hit on three things: mass deportation, birthright, stop
Citizenship,
and frisk. So let's start with mass deportation. This
yes.
is one of the things I say. If
I
you
gotta tell
are
y'all this. Wait, y'all. Hold on, Giovanna. Giovanna is Lord have mercy. Giovanna, oops, what did I do? Giovanna is a news. She worked for the news in where? In
I was an
I need
anchor
to say
report.
this where? Was it in Chicago?
No, I worked in Dallas. I worked in, so I was a news sports reporter. So I started off in a little radio. I shouldn't say little because I'd say don't put, but a smaller market and
No,
radio
minimum.
station in Midland, Texas. And then I was blessed. I got
Uh-huh.
an opportunity to do television at an independent station in Dallas when I was 23 years old. So I was an anchor reporter
Uh-huh.
there. And then I went to Baltimore to do host a television show there. And then I came back to do radio and some television back to Dallas. And then I went to Vancouver to follow my dream to be a sports reporter, came back to Dallas. So, and did radio and some television again there. So,
Yeah,
I've been out
she's
of business
seasoned,
for a
y'all.
minute,
I'm
but
I'm
it's
with a
still
pro.
in me.
And meanwhile, my little podcast, I ain't
Yeah.
minimizing it, but like you're a seasoned pro, you know your stuff. You
Well,
know your yeah. So
I
go
try.
on. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Go ahead.
Okay, let's start with mass deportation. My whole thing is, even if you're legal, I bet you your uncle, your cousin, somebody is undocumented. And if
Yes.
you speak with an accent, how do they know? So I tell you, you better keep your birth certificate with you or your green card.
Right.
Because when they come to sweep, especially, let's say, for example, you're on the construction crew. You might be
Uh-huh.
out there picking up, you might be at a restaurant. You
Right.
because I'm being stereotypical, but these
Yes.
are some of the
But
places
this is
where
what
a
he's
lot of
talking about.
undocumented people work. So let's say you are a documented person and you're on a construction crew and they come to sweep everybody up. How do they know that you're not?
Right.
So you go to jail and then you prove later that I'm documented. That means I got to carry my papers. Why should you have to carry your papers around just because of some kind of policy that Donald Trump has enacted? That's
Right.
crazy.
But then
But you're voting for him.
but I think about that. I think about that not just because of I think like they are, regardless to whether you're documented or not,
Mhm.
they want to do a sweep,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
period. So they want you out of here and they want to put you in a holding situation
Yes, yes, yes.
in the
But what
mean.
if you're an American? What if you're
Huh?
an American? You might get swept up in that.
We'll sort it out later. But you will be
Yes.
separated from your family.
Yeah, that's the point
But
I'm
your
trying to say. If
family
you are
will
an
be caught up in
American.
it with right,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. That's one of the things I was talking about. And then you talked about the birthright citizenship. That's been long been part of our American policy. You were born, if you have a child here, you're an American. And
right,
he's talking about getting rid of that. Once again, he's thinking brown and black folks, but a lot of Russians come over here and
right,
have babies over here too.
right, right,
So
right,
does that count for them too? I don't
right,
know. His buddy Putin. Let's see what happens there. But when
right.
he's talking about birthright citizenship, he's thinking of Mexicans mainly, and then
Right.
in any of the Caribbean or African nations. But his
Yes.
first thought is the Hispanics coming across the border.
Yes. Yes.
And
Yes. Yes.
yeah, yeah. And you mentioned stop and frisk. That's the um his crime fighting policy. Once
Mhm.
again, I'm saying to you people who are skin color, you're
Br-
voting for him,
Brown. Brown people.
especially young people. We talk about racism sometimes with age, we're not so much affected by it as much. But you young people, the stop and frisk, I am for you know, I say I'm a a crime fighter. When I lived in Chicago, I volunteered for the Chicago Police Department. So I am not anti-police, but I'm
Right.
anti-bad policemen, bad
Right.
officers. So
Right.
here we go. But if you tell somebody, let's put in stop and frisk, let's put that back.
Mhm. Mhm.
And then he even mentioned that this is not part of Agenda 47, but he even mentioned when he was in office, when you're arresting somebody, oh, if you bump their head when you put them in the
Yes, I
police.
remember that. He said that, I think, in
Yes,
Nassau
yes,
County.
yes.
I
So
think it was
so
in
not
Nassau
only are
County.
we having stop and frisk, so three things: stop and frisk, and he's also talking about giving immunity to
Yes.
police officers. So
Yes.
with George Floyd, that guy
Total
would have had
immunity.
immunity.
Yes.
So
Yes.
this is what he's pushing for.
Yes.
And
Yes.
then somebody may say yes, and they may probably say this is a good thing, but he's also pushing for the death penalty for
Mm.
drug dealers and human traffickers.
Right.
So it's not for me to say. So I think it's hypocritical. You're for life and you say anti-abortion. You're for life, but then
Right.
yet you're saying it's okay to take somebody else's life. So either you're
Right.
for it altogether or you're against it. Make up your mind. But
Right.
that's what he's got coming.
Right, right. I think that's part of the problem, to be honest with you. Because when I think about even the stop and frisk, right?
Mhm, mhm,
And total immunity for police officers, period, across the board.
mhm.
We know that policing in our communities came about because they were trying to keep the people, the slaves in check. We have to
Yes.
police them. We can't let
Mhm,
them. That's how the whole police force even came about to begin
mhm,
with, right?
mhm,
Because it
mhm,
wasn't really necessary if everybody was doing what they needed to do in their communities,
mhm,
right? The issue the issue is we have always in our communities, we have been over policed,
mhm,
right?
mhm,
Like they're always in our communities, but you wouldn't know what was going on in other people's communities. So that's why it's always a report. And if there is, it's like they just slap them on the wrist. Okay, go ahead. Don't beat your wife. You know what I'm saying?
mhm,
Don't do that,
mhm,
in other communities. But in our community, we going all the way to jail,
mhm,
right?
mhm, mhm,
We going all the way to jail. So if you're telling the police carte blanche, you have total and complete immunity to do whatever you want,
mhm,
who do you think that is going to affect? You
mhm.
you mentioned George Floyd,
Yes.
and people begin to march,
Mhm,
and Black Lives Matter all over the place.
mhm,
Now, what
mhm.
he is saying is, while he had a hold and a check on him before, he wanted to
Yes.
release the military on protesters.
He's still that's part of Agenda 47. That's
Yes,
so he's once again he says the quiet part out loud.
he
So
does.
as much as he's saying I'm not a part of Project 2025, these are some of the things that are in his Agenda 47. So he talks about
Yes,
that. And yet he's the main one saying we're taking away his First Amendment. But if you
Right.
don't fall in line, he's talking about bringing the National Guard, the Army
Yes.
to
Yes. To
tell
shoot
protesters.
and kill
Yes.
protesters.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. He is.
And I
Yes.
have I was looking at, and y'all know, for all of y'all watching, y'all know that this is not my usual area to talk about politics. Y'all know I am Kim Love Jones. I'm a relationship coach. But my heart has been so heavy because I can't imagine that if, protesting is the right of the people.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's how civil disobedience. You understand what I'm saying? It's
Mm-hmm.
not us saying we want to hurt anybody.
Mm-hmm.
It is just, oh no, and then it's Antifa. Antifa
Mm-hmm.
is doing everything. And
Mm-hmm.
it became this whole thing, and it wasn't always Antifa. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
not saying that people burning and looting and doing all of this stuff and
That's not right. Right. Right.
that
Right.
that's okay either. But what I am saying is that it is our right to protest. And when I think about what John Lewis went through, and
I was
even
getting ready to. Right.
James Clyburn, and all of these politicians of old,
Yes.
right, who died, later on in life, and some died out there fighting a good fight for
Mm-hmm.
civil
Medgar
rights.
Evers and yeah.
Yes.
So what I tell these young people once again who are voting for Trump, they don't know what people went through. I said, I bet you your grandmother is turning over in her grave. Just like we're at the age, we didn't have to sacrifice our lives to protest, but we were close enough to that generation to see what they went through. And I'm a
Yeah.
little older than you. I saw on television where they were being pushed away from the protesting and with water hoses and stuff like that, pulled away from uh, uh, lunch counters. I saw it.
Yeah.
I had an
Yes.
opportunity as a child to see the difference, the colored water fountain versus a white water fountain. I saw that.
Uh-huh.
I saw that.
Uh-huh.
Now,
Uh-huh.
did I have give my life for did I give my life to vote? No. But I'm
Right.
that second generation. I still
Right.
stood up. And I remember when my dad took me away to college, he said, please tell me I don't have to come get you, because he knew I was always standing up for what was right. But did
Yes.
I give my life? No, but I still stood up for what was right. So a lot
Yeah.
of the young people now, they don't even know what we had to go through
No.
or what
No.
the generation
What my
before us had
what
to go
my
through.
parents went through, right? Because I didn't
Mhm.
go
So
through it
it's the
either.
ones that
I didn't
gave
know
their
what
life. I might have given up. I had to be careful. Somebody asked me, well, this is another, once again, I'm probably leading you into another story. What got me involved with writing this book, because I stood on the sidelines for so long, because you have to be, they always tell you, be careful what's on your social media,
Yeah.
especially if you're applying for a job, especially if you're applying for school. And I was applying for law school. So I had to be careful that first time around. But this time
Right.
around, this is too important. I don't care what. And somebody
Right.
said, Giovanna, God, if someone closes the door, if it's meant for you, God will knock it open. So I
Yes.
knew I could not keep quiet. So no
Yes.
matter what, I had to speak out.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I will be where I'm supposed to be. And if I'm not supposed to be there, I won't be there. But for me to be
Yes.
quiet, this is our democracy. This is not about
Yes.
red or blue. I value my freedom. I'm
Yes.
actually, I don't want to say I'm afraid because I got God, but it
Yeah.
scares me if this man were to get back in office. And this has nothing
Yes.
to do with red or blue. I wasn't
Yes.
afraid when George Bush got in office. I wasn't, I
Right.
was disappointed. I mean,
Yeah.
I disagree with their politics.
Right.
I remember
Right.
Reagan. That was my first time voting. I was disappointed because my
Mhm.
vote didn't count. I
Right.
felt it didn't count, but
Right.
my vote didn't get me the desired result. But I was not afraid. And
Right.
gets back in the office. He's so vicious. Our democracy, whole government will change. It's not could
Yeah.
change. We're talking about this definitely because he's already told you what's going to happen.
Right.
Could
Right.
not stay on the sidelines and just keep
Right.
quiet.
I agree. And for me to be outside of my genre here, going live about this, I feel the same. I
Mm-hmm.
feel the same. I feel like it is my duty to talk to people about what's going on out here. And it's like, like I just want to come in and sit down with you and tell you that this is the greatest economy, that we have going on right now, that the stock market is doing well, that, and although we struggling, like the job market, we're as low as we've ever been in over 50
Mm-hmm.
years at 4%.
Mm-hmm.
And people
Mm-hmm.
are like, people are building businesses and they're doing all of this wonderful and amazing stuff. And to be at this crossroad where potentially January the 6th, right? Or whenever the inauguration
On the
is,
20th,
right?
right? It's on the
20th, the
uh-huh.
21st, right?
Yeah.
Right. Whenever the inauguration is, we can possibly be getting this man who wants to be a dictator, who wants to tell you, like, how to live, what to do. And if you do not support him, right,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to go to jail, or he wants to shut down 60 Minutes. He wants to, hey, Brother Allen, I see you. He wants to shut down 60 Minutes. He wants to do, shut down TV stations, because if it's not what he wants to hear, the whitewashing that they want to do with the books and with our history, right? And
Mm-hmm.
who we
Mm-hmm.
are, and how people of color, brown people, built this country,
Yeah.
right? So all of the things that are happening right now, it bothers me tremendously, because I'm like, are you serious? Like, it makes me literally afraid, just like you. And I
Mm-hmm.
feel like this is something I have to do. I have
Mm-hmm.
to talk
Mm-hmm.
about what's going on politically. We need to fully understand.
So let's go back. You talked about you mentioned something you just mentioned about DEI and
No, I
it's
didn't. Did I talk about diversity,
what did
equity,
you just say?
inclusion?
You just I normally write stuff down, but I'm
Didn't.
sitting there
That
listening
was
to
in
you.
your mind.
I,
Go
I
ahead.
got I got so enthralled with that. But let's talk about DEI protections and civil rights. I heard somebody ask Camel, "What are you doing for Black people? Reparations and all that kind of stuff." Do you think Donald Trump is going to give you reparations? No, he's
It's
doing one.
funny.
He's doing
It's
one better.
funny. Wait, I'm sorry. You know what's so funny? You know
Yeah.
what is so funny? That they are holding her to a standard that this jokester is not even being held to.
But what's even more dangerous, not only are you not going to get reparations, he's threatening you to use the Department of Justice to find out if you've been discriminated against, not as a Black person, but as a white person who's been discriminated against using DEI. And if
Mm.
you've been discriminated against, he's talking about he's going to have a civil rights department, not civil rights like we knew it with Martin Luther King. He's talking about using the DOJ to find out whether or not you as a white person have been discriminated against, and if so, he's talking about restitution.
Wow.
Restitution. And
Wow.
you and these folks are sitting there talking about reparations. He said he's going to give restitution.
Wow.
That's part of Agenda 47. That's
Wow.
part of Agenda 47.
Wow.
Restitution if you've been discriminated against, but not you as a Black person. Hmm?
Wow.
That's dangerous.
Wow. And okay, so can we, I don't want to move from that. I want to stay right there because you say DEI, right? And you're talking about restitution. And I was looking at what they did, the Supreme Court did in terms of turning back. Yeah,
Affirmative
turning back
action.
affirmative action, right? And then, and what boggles my mind, the one justice who,
Clarence.
yeah, he
Clarence.
got into Harvard
Hard.
University
Mm-hmm.
because of affirmative action, and he wants to deny affirmative action to others, right?
Yes.
Because would they have let us in?
Yeah.
Period.
Mm-hmm.
We wouldn't have the means to get in, but would they have let us in to Harvard University if there was not something in place to say that we should be,
So here we go. He's against affirmative action, but what they didn't get rid of was the legacy program. So if your daddy or your granddaddy went to Harvard, you get an entry. You get an automatic in. But
isn't
that's
that
okay.
interesting?
That's okay, but not affirmative action. And the reason why they do affirmative action is because so we not to level out the playing field, but so you won't be in class with a one-sided view. They realize that we bring something
Yes,
to the table. Maybe our grades aren't as high, but we bring something different to the table.
yes,
So you don't
yes,
see the same whitewash over and over. Maybe
right,
me as an older person, I can bring a different perspective to somebody, to someone younger. Maybe
yes,
me as a woman of color, I've experienced something a little bit different than you have as
yes,
a white young male.
yes,
So
yes,
that is what affirmative action or DEI is all about. It's not that we're
yes,
less qualified, because
yes,
I've been in classrooms with some of these younger white boys who cheated in the classroom so they could get their grades. I've seen it. So
yes,
what makes them more qualified than me?
right. Who bust your
Right.
behind for every point you got, right? Yeah,
Yes, yes.
yeah.
And then not to say that's the case of all, but the thing is, when you bring a little color, when you bring age, when you bring experience, you get a
And
different
wisdom.
flavor of pie.
It's so interesting, and I'm gonna sidebar, but not super sidebar. I was sitting on
Mhm,
the grand jury in Brooklyn, New York, the federal grand jury,
mhm,
right? And
mhm,
we were discussing, my son at the time, my oldest son had bought a BB gun. He was working, he was a teenager. He's working at like Sports Authority or something. I don't know. I
mhm,
don't even remember. And I'm sorry I said that on this
mhm.
live. But anyway, because I don't remember the store. But they allowed him to get the BB gun. He was about 16 years old. And I had a fit. And I would happen to be on jury duty, federal grand jury. And I was sitting there and everybody, I was like, oh my God, we were on lunch because we would take lunch together and it was amazing. Brooklyn is a melting pot, is an amazing place to be. I think I'm Brooklynite just by, because I love Brooklyn, right? So one of the things that really, oh, I see you, Nicole. I see you, baby. I love you,
Hey,
sis.
Nicole.
Um, one of the things that as I was having this conversation, it was like, oh, he should be able to have a BB gun and he should be able to do. I said, no, 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 no,
Telling you as a mother that your
not
child should have a BB gun?
yeah, because we go shooting, our children have BB guns. I said, you don't live in my neighborhood.
Mhm,
If they saw my son walking down the street with a gun, see, my experience and the experience that I bring
mhm,
into a room is
mhm,
from the place of, my heritage, the things that my people have experienced. And so
mhm.
if you make a place, or it's a disservice
Yes.
when you make a place like all Caucasian, or all with one belief, you
Yeah.
never grow in an environment. So when you talk about DEI, and when you talk about um Lord have mercy, so what was he talking about, the Supreme Court?
Affirmative action, DEI,
Affirmative
or
action, all of that,
ZRT.
right, affirmative action, right. When
Mhm,
you talk about that, we're talking about that from, we need to be included. We need to be at the table because
mhm.
it is going to inform, which is why they're book banning, why they're trying to whitewash our history, because
Yes.
if people knew the contributions that we made, that would make them, be more compassionate
Power. Yes.
with
Yes.
towards us, and people don't want that. They
Mhm.
don't want to see how we've made contributions, even with the filament in the light bulb. Like,
Yes.
they
Yes.
don't want people to know that part
Yes.
about
The
us.
contributions we've made. The
Yes.
street. I
No,
mean, the traffics. It's so much. I mean, that's a
Yes.
whole. Now you know that's another show altogether. So don't.
It really is. But the reason why I bring that up is because when you talk about affirmative action and
Hmm.
you talk about diversity, equity, and inclusion,
Hmm.
you
Hmm.
are also talking about the fact that we all need to be at the table. What Trump
Yes.
is trying to do is take us all away from the table unless we agree with him.
Hmm. And
Really.
even see some, but then even then, a lot of us think just because we voted for him that we're still equal at that table. We're not going to be. This
No.
was not written for you. So
Right.
the Candace Owens of the world, you know, you see what he did with Omarosa. So
Right.
you know, you think you're going to be different?
Right.
No,
It
no.
seems like he turns his back, to be honest, on everybody. If you do
Yeah,
not agree with him, he will
yeah,
throw you under the bus. He does not care about
right,
you. He does
right.
not care about what you think. It's his way or it's
Or
no
the
way.
highway.
Right.
His way, the highway.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly.
so let me talk about something else that was not that's not in Project 2025. You remember his failed Trump University? He got sued for that. Remember that?
Uh-huh.
So now part of his project, I mean his Agenda 47, he's talking about starting something called the American Academy. So now
Ah,
think of Trump University, here we go, on steroids. So now this is going to be funded with our taxpayer dollars. But I said taxpayer dollars, but no, what he's planning to do to get the funding, he's going to rob some of these big endowments, like at Harvard University. They have
wow.
$500 million endowments. So he's going to go after their endowments. Either he's going to ticket them, place liens against them, but he's going after that money for
Wow.
his American Academy. The American Academy is designed to be online and it's supposed to compete with, you know, four-year universities, but it's not. You can't. Because what he's saying is if let's say you've got a few hours of college now, you can go to this academy, American Academy. Once again, think failed Trump University.
Right.
And so the people who not everybody's not going to recognize this degree, but where it's going to come in, he says, but it will be recognized by the government and by government contracts.
Wow.
So to think about, remember, he's firing all these people, but he's bringing in his loyalists. So let's
Wow.
say you don't have a degree, and the job calls for a degree. So the person who's been in that position all this time is educated and they have a degree, but you're getting fired now. But I'm gonna bring in my person who has an American Academy degree. So
Wow.
this is what this is all about. It's not a real university. This is Trump's
Right.
idea. Is how he
Right.
gets around things.
Right.
So
What's
this is called the
scary?
American Academy.
What's scary to me, because I only people that would go there are people who agreed with whatever it is that he's talking about, right? But what's even more scarier to me, just is that people are saying they don't know who Kamala Harris is and what she stands for.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
And I know I know that there is too much on the line and we're getting ready to close in a few minutes. So I'm not rapping, but I want us to deal with what you know about Kamala Harris and what would make you vote for her.
Well, I would start with they say she's not qualified and
Mm,
and she hasn't done anything under the presidency. First and foremost, she was not the president.
right.
She was the vice
What does
president.
the vice president do?
Oh, now it acts as a vice president. That person's going to enact the whims, and I say whims of the president. Just like he
Whatever.
made her,
Yes.
he sent her to the border, but she was not the border czar. But he
Right.
had
The way that
certain
they,
whims, his to act out certain policies that he wants to see done. And I'm
yes.
sure she's got a chance to put her input, but this is not her legacy. It's
Right.
Biden's legacy,
It's
and she's
legacy.
there.
Right.
So one
Right.
of the things that she did, as vice president, she was able to go into the Senate and break. She was a tiebreaker. That is
Yes,
one of the uh,
yes.
um,
But her
maybe,
job is
yes,
basically to just carry out whatever
the
the
president.
president's
Hmm.
agenda is. She
Hmm.
does not write policy.
Yes,
A lot
yes,
of people are like, "Well, what has she done?" And I'm like,
yes,
"What she
yes.
became vice president?" You know, and what people fail to realize is that while she was the head district attorney, because there was a rumor, there was somebody who said, "Oh, she locked up all these black men." What
Hmm.
she
I was
really
going to
did,
go back. I was going to go back from her
yeah,
senatorial to
yeah,
the AG. Yeah.
yes. What she actually did was create um a program for men who were arrested for drugs.
Yes.
And all of the men who were arrested as the attorney general in California went through this program. And as long as they didn't get into, I'm sure, any more trouble at the time, they were allowed to go through that program, and so that there wouldn't be the rotation of them being thrown in and out of jail. And
Mhm.
she implemented things for black men, right?
Yes.
But if you
Yes.
listen to the rumor, they will have you to believe that she was locking up hundreds of thousands of black men
Yes.
by the numbers. And, she threw all caution to the wind, and she was so hard and so difficult. And then I heard this young man on CNN, I believe, they were doing this little thingy talking to them. And he said, well, if anybody ever took civics in high school, they would know.
Yes.
You remember that
Yeah,
young man?
that little
They
heavy
actually brought
setback.
him
Yes.
on Joy Reid's show. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Very
And
smart young man.
yeah, he's very smart. He said you would know that the vice president doesn't do anything. They only carry out the presidential agenda.
Yes.
And
Yes.
the
Yes.
other, Giovanna, I'm going to ask you this question. What is the role of the House,
Oh
the
no!
Con?
Don't do that.
Don't do that. Okay.
Don't do
Okay.
that. Don't do-
Okay.
Hold on.
All
I
right.
don't want to be like there was this one lady running for office, and she didn't know how many Congress people there were. I do know that,
Right.
but they write the laws, and then still they have to bring it through the Senate. So
Right.
I'm not like so. I think
The-
one of the things I said, I am not a political pundit. I am
right.
not a. I did pretty well in civics. So to ask me all of that, I always tell you, I defer at this moment. I
Right.
defer at
Right.
this
Right.
moment. So,
The
so
reason
and the way I ended up writing the book was not because I'm a political pundit.
pundit.
It's
Right.
because I was concerned about what was going on, and then I
Yes.
utilized my friend AI to put all of this together to make sure, So anyway, to answer your
What I
question,
was gonna say though, and the reason why I brought that up is because a lot of people were saying, "Oh, when Trump was in office, I had a lot of money."
oh yes, okay, I can answer that. Yes,
And
yes,
so
yes,
and
yes,
so to help people to
yes.
understand,
Okay,
right?
yes.
Okay,
Trump did not. Matter of fact, he didn't want to give out any money. It was
he
at the
did.
helm of Nancy Pelosi, who at the time was Speaker of the House. She gathered everybody together.
In the
And the
House,
only reason,
in
the
Congress.
only reason he signed that check, I mean, he pushed for the check. Somebody must have told him he could sign his name on there. So it looked
Right,
like it
right.
came from Donald Trump. And in fact, he held it up a couple of days so he could put his
They
name on
can,
the check.
yes, yes. And the thing
He had nothing to do with it. And if it were
right.
up
And
to
that's
him, it
what I
wouldn't
was
have been
gonna
done.
say to people, because I keep hearing that over and over and over again from people like
Yes.
Donald Trump, my pockets was fat. No, it was Nancy Pelosi and a Democratic Congress,
The
right?
house. Yep, the
Just so
house.
we are
Yep.
clear,
Yep.
because a
Yep.
lot of people think like who gave you those stimulus checks? And you
Yes.
really want to know where the inflation came from? The
Yes.
inflation came from everybody was on lockdown and people was getting all of this money, and all of the manufacturers and the business people said, wait a minute, we got to get all of this money that's floating out here
Mhm.
from the stimulus checks. People
Mhm.
were saving their money, and the prices of bread and eggs and everything started to go up
Yeah.
because they began to get greedy. And they knew that some people, if you had kids, you were getting like $4,000 a month in stimulus checks. Like, wait a minute, who's getting this money?
Mhm.
Right?
And
And so people,
it continued under Biden too. So for them to say, well, Trump gave us this money, Biden
Right.
continued. They had to have it through, but they forgot about that. And then they talk
Right.
about the price of gas being lower. That's because nobody was going anywhere. I mean, a tank of gas
Right.
could last you almost a year because you didn't go anywhere.
Right. Right. And so people have this mindset that Trump did something for them. And I
Yes.
wanted to say before we close this show, because I
Yes.
heard it from so many people,
Yes. Yes.
understand your government
Yes. I
and
could answer that
understand
question.
what your government does, what the
Yes.
House
Yes.
of Representatives does,
Yes.
what
Yes.
they
Yes.
do
Yes. The house.
versus what
Yes.
the Senate does,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So if we begin to understand, and the only reason why it's so one-sided is because you get 2 senators per state.
Yes.
Even
Yes.
if you got a population in your state of 50,000 people somewhere in
Versus
Wyoming
5 million, you're
versus,
still going to get 2 senators.
yes,
So here we go. When you go, if you haven't voted yet, make sure you vote straight blue, not just for the president, because it makes a difference for the senator, the congressperson, and your local person, your local state
yes,
people. People forget about them.
that's
They
right.
are the ones who make the real rules. You don't think about it.
Yeah,
So make sure you vote all the way down,
yes.
all the way down,
Because
straight
it,
blue.
because if we don't have the House or
If
the
we don't
Senate,
have the Senate, it doesn't matter. She's just a
we,
figurehead.
yes, we have a problem.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
We
mm-hmm.
have a problem. And so
Yes.
people are like, oh, well, I'll vote for Trump here and then vote blue so he
No.
can check
No.
on him.
No.
I submit to you that if you do that,
Yeah.
that's going to be a problem because all politics are local.
Yeah.
Even here in Long Island,
Yes.
there is this gentleman who I literally heard watching a Trump rally on
Mhm.
TV saying that he was going to start a militia in Long Island.
And
Um,
he's a current
he's
uh
the county executive,
mhm, mhm.
Mangano.
He's just pushing Trump. He's just talking Trump talk. But that's
Yes,
dangerous.
it's
But
dangerous.
he's pushing his rhetoric.
Right,
Hmm.
right.
He's
And
pushing his
so
rhetoric.
we have to understand that all politics are local,
Hmm.
but you have to make sure that we win the House and the Senate and sit down and talk to people and Google stuff. Don't just have conversations with people. Google it.
Well, Google, but
Find
hold on. Don't just Google your standpoint.
No.
Google your opposition to make sure when you, because people Google and they'll say, oh, here it is right here. Make sure you Google your opposition so you'll know whether or not it's true. Don't just Google your point of view. And I
Yes.
tell people before you post anything or repost something, check it out.
Right.
Check it out.
Right.
Because it's easy for us to post what we believe in, but you don't want to post a lie. And
Right.
they talk about misinformation. No, it's not misinformation. It's just a lie.
Right.
You don't want to be part of that. Make sure
Alternative facts.
yes, alternative fact. Make sure you do your own research before you post.
Yes. This is so important. I'm telling y'all, I was about to cry the other day. I promise you. I was laying in bed. I was like, I can't. I cannot. I was literally about to cry because while everybody's thinking about the here and the now, but you got to think about the consequences of what's happening, what's coming down the line. This Agenda 47 is a real thing. Project 2025 is a real thing. If it wasn't so egregious, Trump would not be running away from it. He would not have changed Agenda 47 on his website. And he also would not be backing away from 2025, Project 2025. We have got to start having hard conversations about this. And I don't mean arguing, because it's with loving kindness have I drawn thee. So it's just speaking to the senses of those that are around you, your family members, your friends, who may see things differently because they don't understand or they lack knowledge, right?
You're talking Hitler.
Yes.
This man just said he wanted his military
General,
people, his generals, to be
like
like Hitler's. Yes, this
and
man's
Kelly,
serious.
and
People
John
think
Kelly said, I got to remind him. John Kelly said I had to remind him that Hitler's generals was trying to kill him.
because he doesn't know. He just knows he wants this white society. and we don't fit in. You
Listen.
don't fit in. I'm sorry, buddy. You rappers that are standing up for him, you don't fit in. And the
Yeah.
likes of P. Diddy, and I know P. Diddy wasn't necessarily a Trump.
Oh,
I don't know whether he was or not. And I bring this up for a reason. He is being tried for human trafficking. If Donald Trump is in office, that means he could get the death penalty. He could get the death penalty. And so whether or not I'm for or against death penalty, I'm just saying once again, people, think
right,
about your actions, think about your consequences. And your neighborhood drug dealer could get the death penalty.
right,
So
right.
think about your
And
consequences.
those are some very strong situations, both of them.
Mhm.
And my thoughts around both of them. I'm not going to talk about that now.
No,
That's a
no, no.
whole
And
nother.
I know. I just wanted
But
to say that hypocritical stance. That's my whole thing. And just and then a
but
lot of
how
young people,
how
You
but
said,
how about, let's talk about this. How about it's a situation where your child goes into a store
mm-hmm,
and they call the police on your child, and your child then is beat up or dies at the hands of the police, and there are no consequences.
immunity.
The drug dealing, the human trafficking, and all of that other stuff. I'm gonna move that out of the
I know.
equation.
I put it
No,
out there.
no, no. No. That doesn't have anything to do. I'm
Mhm,
glad you said what you said, but
mhm,
more important, if your child is driving down the street in a
mhm.
car,
Uh-huh.
will they make it home alive at the
Mhm,
hands of police officers who have immunity, and you
mhm,
cannot charge them, you
mhm,
cannot go after them, there
mhm,
is no justice served on behalf of your child?
mhm,
Think about that.
mhm, mhm, mhm,
Think about the fact that Donald Trump is just simply trying to stay out of jail.
mhm,
Think about how angry you are
mhm.
as a direct result of all of the vitriol, the divisiveness, and all of
Mhm.
the shenanigans. Like, how do you feel? Do you feel good?
Well, he's not
As
running for you. He's running for himself. Like you said, running to
exactly
stay out of jail. So don't think he's there to represent. That's the difference between him and Kamala.
right.
She does is the felon against the
Yeah,
prosecutor versus the felon. She's
yes.
not going to jail. She
Yes.
doesn't have 34. Yeah, I mean that he's
Felonies.
got so much. I
Right.
mean, I can say he's got a
Even
lot
right
of
here, just in New York, it's 34, 39.
yes,
But
yes,
he got felony indictments everywhere.
yes. That's why he's paying for his the sexual assault. He's paying for that. I mean, so it's just like you said, if you pull down the laundry list of stuff, oh my goodness gracious, oh my goodness gracious.
And
I
you
know
know
we're
what?
running out of
It's
time. I know
funny.
we're
I need to say this. No, I need to say this before we get off of here. We're gonna have to do an extra 5 minutes for this one.
okay.
It amazes me. I've been in and out of the church my entire life, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
Like, but now I'm solidly in the church, and and I'm there. I'm a grown woman, and it's different. But I was raised in the church,
Hmm.
and it really truly blows my mind when I hear these evangelicals who are going along with Donald Trump,
Hmm.
but they hate people. And you're teaching your congregation,
Yes. Yes.
right? Like,
Go ahead.
like
I just
you're a
wrote
white
on somebody's page
supremacist.
today. They're talking about they always say Democrats hate. I said no, I said in my circle, when I say never, I don't hear my people say I hate Donald Trump. You may
Right,
not like the things that he does, but we don't say I hate. The hate
right,
comes from the other side. And then they try
right,
to project it on us.
right,
And
right.
yet, and I say, as a Christian, how can you put that hatred out there? That is not
Yes,
Christ. And
yes,
still going back to the church, and they say, when you talk about the 10 commandments, how many commandments has this man broken? Even though it says, judge ye not. But how
right.
many commandments has this man broken? And you want to put him in the office,
And
the highest office?
the lack of morality, right?
Yes.
And I know we all sin and fall short, but
Right,
the
right.
lack of morality, it
Yes.
makes you question where people's values really are.
Yes.
because you cannot tell me pro-life. Even you cannot tell me that you're pro-life, but the children that are already here.
Yes. No free lunch. Cut that off.
Right. We not gonna help you or your mother. Your mother got to work 5 jobs. Yes, she a
Yes.
single mother. Yeah,
Yes.
you know, the father is whatever. He's not there, or he may be there, but he don't make enough money because everything is, you know, whatever it is. Listen to me. If you feel like you so pro-life, but you cannot look out for those who are less fortunate or disenfranchised,
Mm-hmm.
how are you pro-life? It doesn't make sense. And in the words of my baby boy, my son, make it make sense. They
Mm-hmm.
got to make it make sense. That does not make any sense,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right? And the truth is, Giovanna, I have more conservative views than people probably know that I do.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
You understand? And I'm okay with that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm okay with that. But I love
But at the end of the
people,
day,
though.
it's our
No matter
democracy.
where they are, no matter how they live their lives, I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
love you. It's not my job. My job
Mm-hmm.
is to tell you what thus saith the Lord about you.
Yes.
That's it.
Yes.
That's my posture. And
Yes.
that's my posture every day.
Yes.
That's my posture when I get up in the morning. Who can I serve?
Yes.
How can I be a benefit? Y'all call me if you need me. Y'all know, holla. That's what I say every
Yes.
day.
Yes.
Listen to me. If I am not operating in my gifting, in my purpose, and I'm not doing that,
Mm-hmm.
that's an issue for me. But I will never get up and tell somebody to treat somebody else badly because of what they believe.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right? I will only tell them the truth as much as I know the truth.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right?
That's what all you can do.
That's all you can do, Giovanna.
Yes.
Every day, all day long. And okay, so I want to say this to you. I appreciate you so much. And I know I'm going to have to get you back on here. We're going to discuss on the other side. And I pray, what day is election day? November the 5th? It's the 5th. It's the 5th, I think. I hope that this country makes the right decision in the interest of not just for right now, but in the interest of their children, grandchildren, great grandchildren, and all of those who are coming behind us, and our family members, nieces, nephews, and cousins, right?
Mm-hmm.
I pray that we make the right decision as a country to do
Mm-hmm.
things that are right. I got to get you back on here, Giovanna. I might try. I'm going to see what your schedule is. We might do it again before election day.
Okay.
We need to talk again because there's so much information and so much stuff out here that we need to talk about. But any closing remarks?
Yes. Here's my book. It's called The Original Agenda 47.
Put it
Project.
up again.
There we
Put it
go.
right there.
Project 25. Project 2025 on steroids. It's a lot easier. Anyway, unmasking Trump's ultimate plan. Now, you can get it on Amazon. Either you can do the Kindle version or the paperback. But what I want you to don't just go to Donald Trump's website. If you get the book, that you can. I'll email you the transcripts and that connection. Those transcripts will take you to the video, so you know I'm not making this stuff up. Don't just take my word for it. You can see for yourself. It's an easy read. It is. I think originally it's large print, and I did it. Why can't I see? I'm doing this.
I see.
It's large print, so you don't need glasses. If you're like me, you don't need glasses. It's large print, and I tell people get out your highlighters so you can make notes to yourself. It's an easy read. And then some of it is repetitious. It's repetitious because I want you to remember certain parts. But the book is available now on Amazon. And if you got any questions, like I said, you can reach out to me at Giovanna Fawcett 2024 at gmail.com. So I think that's what it is.
Amen.
Anyway,
okay, we got it, girl.
I've enjoyed.
Giovanna, say it again. Giovanna Fawcett.
I think it's unfortunately I have several different emails, and I should know better. But it's Giovanna Fawcett 2024 because this is Giovanna Fawcett 2024 at gmail.com. So You can email me.
Giovanna, thank you so much, sweetheart, for coming on, for
Yes.
talking about your book, for talking about Agenda 47 and Project 2025. And I hope that somebody was enlightened. I hope that everybody comes out to vote, as I said before. Listen, I love you guys. Thanks for
Vote
watching
early.
tonight.
Vote early. Don't wait till the day. Vote
Yeah,
early.
vote early if you can, right? But
Yes.
Giovanna, hopefully we'll be able to get back on and we'll be able to discuss further some more things about the election. I don't know, did I freeze?
Yes, your
Did
lips.
I
Yes.
freeze?
Yes, you did. You are. You're
I
like,
was freezing with my lips sticking out. Oh
yes.
my God. That's not a good look.
There you go.
That's not a good look. Look, looking like that. Lord Jesus. Listen, I love y'all like cooked food. Y'all have an awesome and amazing night. Love y'all.
Future ahead of us, making memories.